Hi everybody. I thought I would do a video using some bananas that are extremely ripe and I don't want them to go to waste. They're drawing gnats. The gnats are driving me crazy. The bugs are really bad this time of year anyways. I think in one of my videos you saw a moth fly by. The moths are really bad, and anyways, so I'm tired of the gnats, so we're gonna make banana bread because like I said, I don't like to waste anything. And so we're gonna start. You want to preheat your oven to 300 degrees. I'm actually going to be making like mini muffins. That's my personal favorite way to make them because sometimes when I make a loaf, if the batter is really wet, it depends on the size of bananas that you use. I mean, there's different factors. Sometimes to get the center done, I feel like sometimes it can be a little bit dry, whereas the little muffins, they don't take very long and they seem better to me. Okay, so we're gonna start off with a half cup of butter or a full stick of softened butter. You wanna leave it sit out until it's nice and soft. You don't wanna melt it in the microwave or anything. You just want it soft. So we have a stick of butter. I'm gonna make sure I get all the butter out of that. And then I'm gonna add, I've already smushed them, 3 smashed bananas. Okay, and so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to start mashing these together. I normally do this part in my mixer, my stand mixer, but I found that I don't have to do that. I actually made this recipe. I've made it a million times. That's an exaggeration, but I've made it a lot. And we just got back from a mountain vacation and I made them while I was there, and I didn't have a mixer, you know. I just did what I could. I actually used my hands to smash the bananas, and I used my hands to do a lot. And I didn't have, let's see, I didn't have some of the ingredients, and I replaced, oh, I know what it was. I replaced the eggs with applesauce. I had pouches of applesauce because we took one of my granddaughters with us. And I made a few substitutions, and you know, they were so, oh, and it also calls for sour cream. And I didn't have sour cream, so I used yogurt, like a Greek yogurt, and it was perfect, the perfect size, and you know, they came out really great. So, but anyway, so we're smashing our butter, sugar, and bananas together. So you want a stick of butter, softened, 3 smashed bananas, and a cup of sugar. And you want to just smash these together, mix them together. And then once you got that, we're gonna add 2 eggs. So we're just gonna cream that together best you can. It really doesn't matter. I know some recipes it really super matters, but this one is pretty forgiving. So, and then, okay, we're gonna get rid of that. So, and then we're gonna add a half a cup of sour cream. And we're just gonna mix that together. Okay, so now we're gonna put in 2 cups of flour. Sometimes I sift it, sometimes I don't. I put in just like, I think what you would call a pinch of salt. We're gonna put in a teaspoon of baking soda. I kind of do this so it doesn't clump anywhere. And then I'm just gonna mix that together. And I'm gonna add a tablespoon of vanilla extract. Okay. Tablespoon of vanilla extract. I'm gonna give this another mix. And the last thing that we're gonna put in there is chocolate chips. Now, I don't really know how many I add to it. I just kind of add what I think. If I were to guess, it's probably like 3/4 of a cup, maybe half, 3/4. I don't like too many in there, but it definitely makes them really yummy. I used to not add the chocolate chips, and then one day I was like, oh, I'll see how that goes, and it was super good, and my grandkids loved it. So I'm using semi-sweet. I usually like to use milk chocolate, but the store didn't have any, and I used the rest of them when we were on vacation. So sorry guys, I'm just learning this whole video thing. So let's see. Whoops. Okay. So here's a cup measuring cup, and I know I probably don't want a full cup. I would say a half to 3/4. It just depends. If you put too much in there, it'll overtake it. But you want to taste it, but you don't want it to be too much. And you want to put them in the very end, because that way they don't get broke up or anything like that when you mix them in. And just kind of fold them in, really. Okay, so now that we have all that mixed together, we're gonna go in and put them in sprayed baking cups. So I have these little muffin cups. I found this one here at the pallet store that I talked about in one of my other videos. We have several pallet stores, which is basically, people, they buy pallets. They might be returns or whatever, like they buy them from Walmart, Target, different places, DG. And so people go to an auction, they buy these pallets, and then they have their own little store, and they sell things for, half of what you would pay in the store, or sometimes even less than that. But I used to only have these two, and I would have to do batches in the oven. Well, I found this not too long ago, and it was $1.99 new at one of the pallet stores that I go to. So, and this right here pretty much makes all of the little muffin pans that I have, and I don't have to do it in a double batch anymore. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill these cups. I usually fill them about a little half full, and then we'll bake them. I'm gonna shut it off while I fill the cups, and then I'll show you what it looks like after I've filled them. Okay, I filled the muffin tins, the mini muffin tins. You can make a loaf of banana bread if you would like. I do have like little mini loaf, like a thing with little mini loaves in it. But my grandkids seem to love these mini muffins. They take less time to cook, and they just, I personally like them better. But we're gonna put them in the oven. I truly do not know how long they cook for. I just watch them, kind of wait till I start smelling them, and then I kind of, you know, make sure they're done. But I will keep track of how long this takes for you guys, and be sure to let you guys know how long this takes. I don't know, I've probably been making muffins probably the last year since I've been making this. I've been making this banana bread for a really long time. I think the recipe came out of like an old, you know, like the old church cookbooks where everybody puts a recipe in. It came from one of the old cookbooks that my mom has had for years and years and years. And it may not have been a church cookbook, but she also did one with, she worked at a little tiny hospital, and everybody put a recipe in. I think it might have came from that one. The lady that put the recipe in, I'm pretty sure she's no longer living, but her banana bread lives on. I'll let you know how long it takes. Okay, the muffins are done. I timed them, and it was a little shy of 17 minutes. I imagine it depends on, you know, where you're at, altitude. I know that has to do with times. I'm not sure which is faster and which is slower. But anyways, I'm in Indiana, and it took about 17 minutes. So I was just gonna say that if you wanted to add nuts to them, you could add like maybe a half a cup of nuts, like pecans or walnuts. I've done it before, and it's really good. My husband's not a fan of me putting the nuts in it, but I love it. And also, I didn't put any cinnamon or anything like that in these ones, but you could add, like some people like to spice them up during the holidays. So you could add like a teaspoon of cinnamon and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg if you wanted that, you know, that holiday seasoning taste. And some people like it that way all the time. I used to always put the cinnamon and the nutmeg in it, and I haven't for a while. And I haven't put nuts in a while because my husband always complains that but he doesn't care for, especially walnuts. He will eat some stuff with pecans, but he's not a big walnut person. But he loves the chocolate chips. So just a quick recap. You want to cream a half cup of butter softened with a cup of sugar, and then you want 3 smashed bananas and a half cup of sour cream and 2 eggs. You want to cream all that together. And then you want to add 2 cups of flour, a teaspoon of baking soda. You want to add just a little bit of salt, like a pinch of salt. And then you would add a tablespoon of vanilla extract. Mix that together, fold in some chocolate chips. If you want it, you don't have to have chocolate chips. And you bake at 300 for around 17 minutes. And then you've got these delicious mini muffins. And if you make a loaf, it's gonna take a lot longer. I can't tell you how long, because mine always take different times. And then I have to, you know, check and check and check. So hope you like this video, and I will see you soon.